In 1776, the American Revolution against Great Britain had just begun. During this period, founding father and future president John Adams engaged in an exchange of letters with his wife, Abigail Adams, on the rights of women. His wife, Abigail Adams, while not fully supporting gender equality, urged her husband to be considerate of the needs of women, as they too were being subjected to the tyranny of their husbands. Much like African Americans, Abigail pleaded her case for greater women's rights by pointing out how her cause was coherent with the cause of the American rebels fighting against the tyranny of Britain. She was in full support of the independence of the United States of America, but pleaded with her husband to remember the women of the land in passing any new code of laws, so as not to allow husbands to have unlimited power over their wives. She believed that men were naturally tyrannical, and expressed a desire to foment a rebellion if certain rights and protections were not given to women. She did have a point. In that period of time, women were almost wholly subject to the authority of patriarchal society. They had no representation in government, and had limited and low-paying employment opportunities available to them. Thus, it was very difficult for women to make it in society without a husband, which compelled women to marry and shy from divorce. In marriage, women were legally stripped of many of the rights to self-determination they had as single women, as the husband was given full control over their marriage. The practice of coverture, as it was called, held that the legal existence of the woman was suspended and consolidated into that of her husband. This was based on biblical values, which held that the man was the head of the household and the woman was not to usurp authority over the man. This dramatic power imbalance easily led to many women being mistreated, abused, or neglected at the time, and that was what Abigail Adams was referring to when she wrote about the tyranny husbands imposed upon their wives. Abigail's husband, John Adams, was not very receptive to her argument, however. He laughed at her suggestions, in fact, and rejected the idea that men were tyrannical over their wives. He also said that he was starting to see where people were coming from when they claimed the American Revolution had loosened the natural authority of the world. Adams was a more conservative revolutionary than someone like Thomas Jefferson, though he was also limited in his revolutionary zeal. John Adams wanted independence from the crown, but still had respect for the king and believed that too much freedom was a danger to civilized society. Thus, he voiced his concerns that the struggle for independence would also cause the lower rungs of society, Indians, blacks, poor people, and women, to become discontented towards their betters, wealthy white males. From these letters between the Adams family, the reader can see how the struggle for independence prompted many disenfranchised groups in the colonies to express their desire for more rights, while at the same time many revolutionaries who claimed to believe in freedom and self-determination only desired such for themselves, and not for those lower on the totem pole of power.